Well, good afternoon. I am here with Rhonda Liebig, also known as Rhonda Lou Moxie, for all her entertaining energy and the way she gets involved with her groups and her clients, and just full ball of light is what I see. So she's a incredible person who's been helping people step into their authentic path, accelerated connection to their rebalance, and revitalize a vibrant journey. Certified health coach, author, business owner, TV show producer, and podcast, The Fresh Inspiration Show. And Rhonda specializes in helping people break through their biggest health roadblocks and sabotages, which is a huge, huge thing for many, right? She's also a professional speaker, sharing basic tips through her videos on YouTube, social media, podcasts, and TV. Expert in the health industry with over 15 years of experience. The author of The Fit Solution, 4 Steps to a Sexy, Successful, Authentic You. #1 best-selling author on Amazon. So get it there if you don't got it already. Welcome, Rhonda. Welcome.
I
How are
love
you
that
today?
introduction, Beverly. It's fun to be interviewed because we get to play, with all these things as we're out there and enjoying life and living in our passion. So I love that introduction. Thanks, Beverly. It was awesome.
Well, I'm just so excited to share what you do and what it means to, our community, this world planet that we live on. So I found you on Facebook and just happened to pop in on one of your lives, and that's where we really connected. And it's just amazing how you find similar energies,
Yeah.
and you never know when it's going to happen. You never know when the opportunity is going to be there, but you got to grab it when you get it, don't you?
Yeah, I call it, what we hear out there. It's like that frequency. Because, we are on purpose here. Like, we are talking about transforming this world. And how do we do that so we don't fall down into that frequency that feels like, so you can feel the aches and pains, which happens because we're all human. But I really love to be up there in the frequency where I feel what I want to feel, and I can feel and be open more to receiving and also giving. And so that's a great place. I work on that. I try and work on that every day. And if I don't have it, and I can't create it that day, I usually pretty much turn business off because it's just so much better for me not to be out there, but to really rejuvenate my vitality. I love talking about vitality.
Yes, absolutely. And what you're talking about is also the mindset, right? We have to step into that place and prepare, bring up our energy. So it's, I have all these little tags around my house, whatever it is, a win is a win, or, money loves speed, or whatever it is around, to remind myself to stay in that place, knowing that even if you just do a little bit, even if it's just a little bit for yourself, it's that much more than you would have done, right?
Exactly. I was with a client at 6 this morning. I love mornings and I go to bed early so I get there. Sometimes I really like evenings and it's hard for me to do this, but my goal is to get up at 4 and have 2 hours of getting out there in nature, um, reading, lifting weights, or some type of movement. Because I started that at 15 years old. I started working out and moving, and it really helped me through a lot. So it's been there as a friend all my life. But when I was 19, that's when I started teaching aerobics and kickboxing and step and cycle and like whatever else, just give it to me, mama, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I really like that early morning. And when I was working with a client this morning at 6, I was with her for 2 hours because we were doing a rebirthing of something. This felt so good. Let's get this reset because I have a client that's been growing so much. She's like, well, how are you going to be able to help me as a coach? Because I'm just like moving like crazy. And so we did like a rebirthing so she could really feel where she was and how that could help her with her business, her health. And when I was done, I didn't feel that depleted. A little because I was guiding. So what I did is I put on James Asher, and it, like these drums and bump, 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 bump kind of thing. And I just started dancing. I started doing this whole thing, and all of a sudden I could feel the 2 hours is starting to release out of me. And so that's one of the tools, I guess, that I'm saying today is get some music that has some cadence to it, get the body moving. And there's something about that endorphin kick that just, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm training to walk the Camino next year. I was going to go this year, but it's still a little crazy with all the COVID and everything. So I'm going next year. But it's that getting out and walking. It's that even if I just do 3 miles a day, I'm so happy with that because again, it's connecting with nature. It's getting the heart going. It's releasing nothing but positive chemicals from the brain,
Yeah.
and you can just enjoy it. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live out in the country, so I just get to walk through these roads of just big old oaks and cows and valleys, and
Yeah.
so it's magnificent. And like I love yoga, I love teaching yoga, and I live for the mat. So that's one thing. I have never had a time that I've done yoga and said, "Well, that was a waste of time." I
Yeah, I
don't.
don't think so. Yeah, I don't. It's more like, man, I
I
just feel so good.
Yeah, I've never felt worse. I mean, you always feel better, and when you take that time, like you're saying, I love the early mornings because that's when everybody else is still asleep and dawn is just coming. It's fresh, it's new, it's a brand new start of the day, and so yeah, when I can get in there and get on the mat for an hour or two, it changes my mindset for the entire day. Just
Mm.
again, bringing up that vibration, right? Not being stuck in the body, and you're loving your body and you're honoring yourself, and it's ritual is key to me too. That's one of the things I teach people is about finding your ritual. What makes you calm? What brings you to that place where you're just so excited about life in general, right?
Yeah. Ritual is good. And I see it like as a twofold, but and both really good. And one is that you don't have to think about it and go, should I do it? Should I not? It just happens. So that's what's cool about a ritual. So that means you'll consistently do it, get the healing from it. Another thing is, I think it's hard, Beverly, in when you start doing something for yourself, because when you start doing that, you're so used to doing things for everybody else, because that feels really, really good. And so it depends on who's listening to this at this moment, because you could be at any stage from beginning starting to think about yourself and it feels uncomfortable, to already spending an hour or 2 hours on yourself, but still feeling uncomfortable about maybe doing an extra 15 minutes because you're thinking, I just want a little bit more. But it seems like it's hard to really get in and do more for ourselves. And when we start doing that, there's something about it that empowers the brain, like, because we can be so separated in, like, the bad things that come up in the brain of, like, you're selfish for doing it, any of those kind of mindset things. And once you start doing it, your brain starts feeling like oneness, because you're not fighting yes, no, right, wrong, all those things. And then you realize how powerful and special you are. And I
Yes,
think that's a hard thing to get to, because I know that when I was growing up, I just thought of everything bad that was not working. And I would look
right,
at my body and just expect something to
right.
happen, something for it to look a certain way or whatever. Like, it's confusing now, but when I was younger, I had exactly what I was thinking, and it was not very healthy. So it's really fun to do what you're saying, because then you get an opportunity to look at yourself and go, gosh, I love you. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, and if my fingers are numb or there's just something that isn't going right, I'll hold that space. And this is new, actually, Beverly. This is like something new I've been doing. And I'll go, oh, thank you, heart. Thank you. Thank you for taking care of me. And I'm so sorry. I need to get to that tea that's supposed to take care of you. And I haven't done that in a couple days. And I start speaking to my body parts. Thank
Right.
you, liver. I'm like, it's like different. I've been starting to do that. It feels so good.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And again, it's that mind body connection. And I think that's another thing that exercise or ritual of any kind, if you're taking time for yourself, that is connecting the mind and body. It's helping it balance it out. It's honoring the process. Even if at first, okay, so you haven't made time for yourself. I have 4 kids. I have a business. I have all this stuff. I
Yeah.
totally get how, and we were raised to be givers. My parents didn't bring me up saying, okay, Beverly, you need to make sure you take an hour for yourself today. Ever. Like, my mom doesn't even say that to me now. you know? But it's funny because that's how we were raised, right?
Yeah.
So even if people just start with 5 minutes, just go sit on your porch and breathe in the air for 5 minutes in the day, make your favorite cup of tea, whatever. It's not about, I think people make a big mistake of trying to bite off too much. And then when they don't do it, they get on themselves, and it's like, well, habits take a little while. It takes about 3 weeks for anything to become a habit. So if you don't do it that day, like you're saying, oops, I forgot to drink my tea for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So then when you get up, you drink your tea, and then now you're back. And I think we've been trained in so many ways and conditioned in so many ways to, like you're saying, to not put time to yourself. And then if you say you're going to put time to yourself, then you don't do it and you feel bad. I mean, just do it. One thing I've practiced, like I love you sharing about that, putting your hands on your heart, or like you say, your knee hurts, so you just love on it and you think it. Gratitude is enormous in the process.
Mm.
And if we take that time and have that gratitude, then we can move forward. So one thing I've done is, for one thing, luckily I don't do negative talk like I used to. It was horrible when I started writing down the negative, how much, or just awareness. How many times am I being nasty to myself, pretty much? What am I saying? I wouldn't say that to
Yes.
anybody else I love. Why am I, saying it to myself? And so over the years, instead of when I catch myself going, oh, I didn't work out, or, oh, I'll just literally start doing twists. Or when I'm busy, like you're saying, if I'm in the kitchen and I'm watching some shows or something, then I'll start, every time there's a commercial on with music, I start pumping it out. And it's those little things. It doesn't take much.
I know,
It
Beverly.
changes your whole mindset.
I'm just thinking of like, I even do this in Facebook Lives where I'll just be dancing and I'm like, hey, this is what we're learning to be ourselves. And if you want to jump off this video, start getting curious because I'm just being myself. So why are you not showing up the way that you want to? And what is that negative self-thought or like
Right.
talking to yourself? Because we're known to do about 60,000 words to ourselves. I forgot where the
Exactly.
study came from. 80% is known to be negative, and that ranges, of course, based on how long you've been doing your mindset work. But 90% of whatever those negative words are, only 10% only 10% is new. The
Right.
90% of all that those negative words are
That
truly
repeat.
incidental. Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking about this too. Is when I know that when I start thinking about that stuff, journaling. I have a top 10 sabotage list, which I get to play with. And I bet you have tools too, because we love mindset. But what I notice, I start loving on myself more. And then that heart space flows through. I'm a nicer wife. I'm a nicer mommy. I listen more than I used to. And now I feel like I'm a lot like a guide for my 16 and 18-year-old that are making big decisions. They're out there driving now and they're making decisions when I'm not there. And so I'm like, I'm your biggest guide. And my hubby too. Like this is what we're for. If I go and I jump at them and tell them I know more, like those mindset things, that I won't be able to have that monarch relationship that we're working on as soon as the kids leave. And I want to make sure that they feel that this is always a safe place to go back. So not just with our clients or just like showing up at your work or whatever that is, however that flows, but it's like, how can I open up that heart more? Because that's what we need in this world.
Right. Well, and that's it. The more we show up for ourselves, the more we can show up for everybody else in that space of peace, of harmony, of community, of love. And yes, it's all from the heart, right? It's all from the heart.
It really
And
is. Yeah.
it is. And so the more we love on ourselves, truly, Not just with the, I'm not saying it's not fun to go shopping and get some nice stuff,
Mm,
but really it's more about our time with ourselves, the time
yeah.
that we don't necessarily take for ourselves, because we'll give it to everybody else. So that's one of the things I teach my students is just start with 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be long. Just do it for 5 minutes. If you want to do it longer, you're welcome to. But if you don't, you nailed the 5 minutes.
I
Because
love it.
you start there, and then all of a sudden it's a half hour later or whatever it is, right? Even
Yeah.
art. Art is a wonderful outlet.
Yeah.
Getting
Oh
creative.
gosh, yeah. Yeah. I know I love building things through more of the flow. So instead of getting the mind in it, which the mind is fight or flight, so why not try and do things that are more like spirit, like it just feels like this flow. So say you're running a business or you're on a big project at work that you or you're trying to create a different relationship with your partner. That's all creativity. And when you go in the heart sense, then you get to do wild and crazy things. You get to play, even though it may be
Right.
stressful, but you get to play because that's what creativity, that's how you get to bring in that creativity because it's not here. It's like, whoosh, and then you can
Right.
do crazy, say crazy things and have fun. And I say crazy because it's really unique. You're not following a step by step book, but you have some background probably in reading and all that. So you kind of have those tools, but it's really the creativity that brings this world to feel safe. I think that's what we're looking for is the safety. There's too much shaming, too many words out there that it's like, okay, I heard that. Time to cleanse myself for a moment here because this is bringing me
Right.
down or getting me in a scared factor. And because we can fluctuate, which is beautiful, but those tools, using them every day, I know we're giving tools right back and forth, you and me both, Beverly, just what we're speaking about. It really opens your heart and it gives you an opportunity to know how embarrassing at first it can be when we start doing things for ourselves, like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. Oh, whatever. And when I had Jacob, my first baby, I was wanting to celebrate my birthday because I and Jacob was like 6 months. And I said, my birthday is like my most beautiful time. And that was like partnering with the fact that, yes, I'm a mom. But within our family, there are people that were thinking I was selfish because I was speaking to something being very important to me. But I definitely knew that it was totally separate, but it was brought in as if Rhonda always thinks about herself. And if I understood at this time, because he's 18, if I had understood this time that there were mindset stuff, I would love on those people for challenging me that way. So I could say, hey, and I would have been able to open up my vocals. And I'm actually sharing this because people who are listening to your podcast, I know we get a myriad of people that are dealing with different things, but I know that I took that and I locked it up and it was it within me and I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm narcissistic, I'm about myself and oh no, I'm wearing red, oh I get so much attention, oh I'm doing like all these really crazy things. But then I recognized that I felt a little trauma while they were saying that. I didn't know how to speak back to it. So as we do this mindset stuff, we get to love on people that are on their journey. They may not know that they are hurting you or they're trying to shame you, but you don't fight. You stop fighting. And your heart gets stronger because you realize I don't need to fight with you. I understand there's some things you're going on that are going on for you. I love you. And then powerful things happen because that's again my crusade is about like I say hashtag speaker locking arms because I work with quite a few speakers which are my main base of my clientele, but I think about that if we can give somebody a smile, so much can change for them, and we're going to vibrate that just being together, you and me, Beverly, and the people that listen to your podcast.
Well, and again, that's why I'm also introducing them to you, is because you have so much to give and to offer, and obviously a big, open heart. And I think again, the communities need to stick together, like you're saying, locking arms. That's huge. I think that's one of the things that's kind of gotten lost over the last couple hundred years is we don't have that full sense of community. People, you know, we're all around each other all the time, but we're sitting there. We don't look at people, like you're saying. We don't smile at people. Everybody gets stuck in their head sometimes, right? Exactly. And the more we can drop down into our heart, right? Drop down into the heart center and think from that place.
Yeah.
The whole world's different.
It's all about partnering, Beverly. And I think the coolest thing is when you learn to start asking for help or to partner or to
Mhm.
play with. And it's not like this competition because once you start getting the wisdom of the heart, you start seeing yourself more, and then nobody's competition. You get to go play, and nobody disgruntles you. You just kind of go, hey, all right, we'll work with that person again. Oh, I'll work with that person. You just get in that flow, and so you don't slow down and listen to those people that are naysayers, but you turn that focus and the energy to all this good stuff, and you just keep asking
Yeah.
and we can get clunked up in the part like I will never talk to that person again. And then you go and tell everybody you call them up and you tell them about like, okay, I spent an hour on that, but what could I have done if I said, hey, I'm going to go, clear that for myself, and I'm going to
Right.
make sure I still love on that person. They must be having a hard day, or they just show up like this all the time. They're not really the frequency I want, but bam, you're already clear and you're ready to go play again, and that's what we need.
Exactly.
We need that. We really do. And this is something that keeps me up at night. This is my passion. When I was 4 years old, all I thought about was health. I was asking my grandma all these questions. I'm like, come on, grandma, I want to change this world. And at first it was the family. So at 4 years old, it was about the family and being scared about that. But it was about health. And I believe that when our body feels good, like you were talking about yoga, getting on the mat, ooh, I just feel so good and challenging for the body so that we can take care of this earthly body, this spirit that gets to be in this. That I don't know what to say about it. It's just, that's why I'm here. And I understand that's why you're here too. We have our crusades. And for people that are listening out there in your podcast, and I'm going to be sharing it too, is that what is your crusade? What like makes you
Right.
want to cry because you can feel it in your heart is that feeling. So I
That.
Beverly, thank you so much because we're getting to know each other and things you do. I so appreciate you inviting me here because your passion is so big. And when we met through me doing something within a group, you were so loving and just like, oh my gosh, you're like doing stuff that this is what I'm doing too. That to me is an easy yes. I was like, Beverly, what's going on? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're really cool. So I
Well, and like
appreciate that.
you even started out at the beginning of the conversation about it's that vibration, and then you
Mhm.
draw more of that vibration. You're going to see what you think about, right? So if you're thinking positive, you're going to see more positive. If you're thinking negative, you're going to see more negative. It's like when people get a new car and all of a sudden all they see is that car because they just got this new car and it's in their mind. It's just so silly, but it's so true, right? And that's it. When you find people that your vibration connects and it works, and you enjoy it. If it changes, well, then you love them and do what you're going to do, and you'll all come back around or whatever. Maybe not, but
Yeah.
it's about finding those like-minded individuals that, like you're saying, support you. You can ask questions. You can interlock arms. You can get connected. You can get involved, and even though, like you're saying, we might put out a lot of energy and all of a sudden we're tired, we can find that space again.
Yeah.
Getting on the mat it's so important for us to ground down. Just
Yeah.
taking that time, because when we're always up here, chitta vrittis, right, the monkey mind, right, it just keeps going. And even just by breathing, right, that simple gift of just taking a nice deep breath
Mm-hmm.
disconnects that limbic mind. Anytime you're getting all spun out, if you can take a couple deep breaths, you all of a sudden bring it back into that frontal cortex so you can remember, no, no, no. That was the past. I don't need this trigger.
So you're
You
saying
know.
some such cool, interesting things. Okay, so I come in this space of like I love movies, I love vocals, so like great motivational talks. I love people singing it because it helps us get away. And so I do a lot of research on actors. I'm like, oh, what's that actor talking about? Like because it takes a special soul to take in something, be a character, believe it, help us believe it so that we get away from the day-to-day stuff. So I love the entertainment. And right now I'm trademarking mindset transformation entertainment because I feel like that's what I do because I'm just all goofy and silly and love this stuff. And but what I was listening to the other day was that there were a few actors discussing when they, and this is going circling back to what you were talking about, but when they're doing a scene and they are encompassed into that character, their body doesn't know that it's not real. So whatever
Right.
they're doing is like affecting their body. So if they're going and doing all these different things that are bad or all these things that are good, your body is reacting to it because your body doesn't know if it's real or not. So when we're talking, it's the same thing about life. When we're talking about being stuck in the mindset because the fight or flight, let's go out like cavemen and women and let's go kill and get our prey and also protect ourselves. So our brain works that way, that limbic system works that way. That's why we need the clearings. It doesn't fit here in now anymore because you can
Right.
have something that you hear that's miles away, but it all of a sudden translates that it's happening right here. And so there's a lot of ways that we can fall into the fear factor. But also when we're thinking negative, what you're talking about is, we get so you can only focus on that because that's where you didn't have anything to break it,
Right.
and you're at the beginning stages of learning how to use this mindset stuff and how to do the clearing, what works for you personally. But your body doesn't know the difference. So if you're upset about something, your body's going to keep doing it over and over. So let's talk about health. You're talking about get on the mat. I feel that's your branding too. Like get on the mat. That's kind of like your tool. Get on the mat. Let's talk about this kind of thing. I can
I
see that
like
being
that.
the name of your podcast. Let's get on the mat.
Yeah.
But you think about that, and I know we're getting close to the end here, but you really want to know your chakra system, where things stop in your body. Understand that if you're having liver or pancreas stuff going on, the insulin resistance and things that happen, you go, well, that's my third chakra. Maybe I'm not moving forward on things. What's holding me back? What is that? Why does it get stuck there? Why am I having this acid reflux or just all these different things? You can read these different things to understand different parts of your body in a holistic way also. So you're not always battling the brain of saying stop doing this or that, but your stuff is yoga. I know that you probably speak to all this stuff all the time, and I know I do too, is that you get to look at different angles so you don't get at yourself just about your mind and your mind and your mind, but all those other angles so that you can feel the freedom. And then all of a sudden it becomes something different. Your mind becomes more positive because of just those other angles. So other angles are really good too.
Yeah, perspectives are amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what is it? Every 8 months we have a brand new body, right? All the cells are replaced in like 8 months, right? Which is crazy, right?
I've been reading this
Yeah,
for you.
exactly.
Grow a new
Yeah,
body.
I love Doc. I have met Alberto Rioldo. I've done classes with him in the Bay Area years and years ago. So yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
And
a new
I was
body.
actually, yeah, I was looking for the book because you had mentioned it in that one, and I was like, wait, I couldn't find it. Did you get that on Amazon?
Yeah,
I'm
and I
promoting,
and
I
I
guess.
just carry it like right here. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I go, what am I going to learn next? Because being a health coach, I'm always like, and I mean, I'm an
Yeah,
author too. And you're talking about that you're getting ready to be an author also. So I should be holding my book. But I mean, we can talk
yeah.
about that in the description and all that.
Oh.
But this is fun because it brings back like just the basics of how the body works. This is what we're talking about. We're looking at systemically what you and I are talking about. Just all kind of here it's technical, it's not for everybody, but what we're talking about is the depths. It's hard to express it within a half an hour, but you have so much knowledge in where you have gone and where you're going. Same thing for me. I read every day, and I that's why I feel it here. It's like I I don't know how else to live. But think
Right.
about vitality. Think about the body. Think about the aches because I don't want any of those aches even as we age. It's not because we're getting older. What else do we need to do, and how can we release that ache relative to where we were before? Because sometimes we have major stuff happening and think, oh well, I'm just getting older. So
Right.
that's my
Well,
challenge for
yeah, that
people.
is a good challenge to just
Step into it.
people, to just look at it, without judgment. That's the hardest thing for people. We get into that mode of judgment, and that's not the perspective we want to be looking at it. We want to look at it from love. Okay, what little things, right? And again, that it just, or it, you're doing all these things. Like, you didn't do all this in one day. You
We're
started.
not born that smart. I don't.
No.
It takes it just you build onto it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to step back into it. And it, again, like we've talked about, it doesn't mean that you failed if you stop for a day or two, or life happens, right? It just means you pick it up again. And if you don't remember that first chapter, well, start over. Or like you do, I do that with books. I will just flip through a page and pull it open. I've only got a minute or two, but I'll just say, ooh, well, let's see, what am I supposed to read about today? You know.
That's exactly how Beverly. Oh my gosh, this is cool for your podcast to hear this too, because literally you can have a big book and you go, oh, I have to, like fail or like I think I'm redefining words in the Webster dictionary. So I'm like, oh, failure? No, that feels really good. But when you look at the dictionary, you're like, oh. So I feel like I'm
Oh,
like
maybe.
redefining words right now.
Sure. Well, it's important, right? You know.
It is.
Wow. Well, let's talk about a little bit of what you've got going on. You've got something big coming up, and I'd love to hear a little bit more. And I know my people would want to hear more about it if you want to give us a little bit of that.
Okay, cool. We have a couple things going on. First thing is that's real basic is that we have within Facebook, it's called the Fresh Inspiration Show, Mindset Transformation Entertainment. Within that group, every month I'm doing a show with fun, cool, new experts. And there's a vetting process. So the people that are there, oh my gosh, you learn so much from marketing to spiritual to health, like just like every angle, but it's based on heart and how the person disseminates the information so that people that are coming in the community, I call them hashtag inspirers and hashtag seekers, because if you're looking for that, you're out there inspiring other people and you're seeking that information. I think I'm both of those, so that's what I've been doing with the group. And so you can be part of that group, and it's like free, and you just kind of hang out and get some good stuff, get your journal out. The other thing is that I work with speakers, and I love to combine the health and wellness because you want vitality in the body. So I think I talk a lot to the speakers about their vocal health and their mindset health so that they can get out there and launch and really change this world. And I help them also as a speaker, kind of the structure of how they want to talk from beginning to end, how it feels. And so I do have an event, and it's I just changed the name the other day because I'm still kind of creating as I go along. But in there, it's hashtag speaker locking arms. It's within the title, and it's a free event because we're going to be talking about what's exciting about you as a speaker. And if you're not a speaker but you love the mindset stuff, you'll be in great community. So I want you to get a free ticket, and I'll make sure that that link gets out there too.
Perfect. Yeah, if there's anything else you want to add to, all this information will be available on the podcast page or on the video page, so they'll be able to find you in case you didn't write it down yet. That's okay. But what, going? um, as far as, well, like you're saying, you help speakers and you help them connect and you help them get out there. And what I think is most important about what you're offering is I know it's all positive.
Right.
Right? You guys are just encouraging each other, just inspiring each other. And I think that's important. People need to know that they have a safe place for
Mhm.
something like that. Because not everybody, even your family adores us, right? Our family loves us and they care about us and everything else. But sometimes when we're talking, it's just over their head, or they don't get why you're so inspired or so enthusiastic, or just like we're saying earlier, we need to get it out there. This is what keeps us going. This is our motivation. This is what wakes us up at night, because we need to share and to know that other people have support out there for them to learn. So I think that's such a huge, huge part of what you offer too, is that it's positive, positive, and you interact with them and you keep them top of mind and important.
When I finished health coaching school, I was so scared. And I think that when people are launching new things, I was so scared because I was like, what's the difference between a therapist and a coach? And it was something I even put on my website, and it was like, but it still scared me because I'm like, well, what if I get somebody in a scenario where they like dive in too deep somewhere and all this kind of stuff? But doing this for so long, therapists, they want to look in the past, they want to sit there, and there's a lot of things that come back where when you're done with session, it can be that you feel negative still because you're kind of working through things, you went really deep. But as a coach, you're always looking forward. And when you look forward, you find the freedom, you feel the energy, and these things that will pop up about the past. Now your body and your brain is ready to heal. So you can cry, but it's like a bubbling up cry where it's like you get that release because you felt safe enough to do that. And you're always looking forward. And when you look forward, you're doing it in a way where you feel grounded because you can feel anxious if you look forward and you're expecting things to happen. So, as a really good coach, you want to find somebody out there that understands the difference and does a lot of mindset stuff for themselves. And you can hear it when you're hearing them with any kind of the typing or any kind of newsletter, but you always want to be able to feel that in the heart that it's a yes to be with somebody. So, I know some people that are listening to this right now, they're going to be so infectiously in love with you, Beverly. They're going to be like, oh, Rhonda's kind of interesting. And they're going to say, oh my gosh, I love both of them. And then they're going to find a way to be hanging out with both of us. Or that I get to be on your show and they get excited about me and they go to these things. But what it is that I just want us truly all to partner, and whatever comes is what's supposed to come, and to really get yourself out there, and whatever's slowing you down, it's the mindset. What kind of things you want to quantum leap so that you get out of the crud that really makes us cry, but not in a nice, gentle cry and gets us scared.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I know with everything that everybody's just gone through with COVID and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I literally lost my dad. It'll be a year on the 2nd of May. So I took this last year was like you said, sometimes when you're not feeling it, you have to step back. I just stepped back. I'm just literally, this is my first podcast back and getting it going again. But I had to stop and just take care of me.
Yeah, that's you.
Well, like we said, I found you because I was supposed to. That's why you're here today.
I
So,
know.
but it's that things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. And the more we can, literally, it is a practice. It's a constant practice. And the more you do it, the more you start to have it when you need it instead of afterwards, right? When
Yeah.
you can catch yourself, oh, I'm getting worked up, I'm going to stop, I'm going to take a breath, and now I'm going to, turn on the music and dance around or
Oh,
whatever gets you going,
I'm
right?
ready to do that.
Oh yeah, I do too. I actually, one of my classes I used to teach was belly dancing. So that's
Ooh,
always fun.
I'm
Yeah,
all
it's
into
always
that.
fun. Yeah, exactly. But it gets us into a body, it gets us out of our head, it helps us ground down, it's releasing all those amazing chemicals, and just, you feel amazing. I love Just Dance. I do Just Dance all the time.
Yep.
And sing and just go for it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And you know, exercise does not have to be boring.
It better not be. Everything's supposed to be fun in life. I feel like I'm my
It is.
kid back to when I was 4 years old asking my grandma stuff. And then with all the experience in this world, so the emotional maturity of, really, being out there, you get knocked around quite a bit and you get to really grow and learn what you want to face and things that you want to mature more on so you can handle things better. I mean, yeah, I'm a kid. I want to keep playing.
That's it. That's it. We don't have to grow up.
No.
Well, Rhonda, like I said, I will post all the information and links for your books and everything on the page. And I am so, so very grateful for you coming today. It has meant the world to me. It's lovely to get to know you more. And I look forward to our many, many adventures ahead, my dear.
Thank you, my friend. I really had fun. And I appreciate
Thank
you
you,
sharing
sweetheart.
that with me that you took a step back and you're starting to get back out there with your podcast. And I appreciate this space with you then, even more.
Oh, well, thank you, thank you, thank you so much.